Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Drew Davis, and I want to welcome you to Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that'll actually improve your vision the longer you listen. I want to take a moment to thank you for joining me today, and I've got some great information lined up for you. So relax and tune in, because we're about to begin. Hey, everyone, it's Drew, and I want to thank you for joining me today. And what I want to talk about right now is something that's important to me, and I think it's important to all of us, and that's our health, right? And I don't mean just the importance of our health, but the importance of making sure that we are informed about our health and that we seek counsel whenever there may be issues or challenges that arise in our health. At the same time, we also want to make sure that we are clear-headed with regards to the information that we receive, and that we don't view that information through clouded lenses, clouded perceptional filters. And what do I mean by that? I'll try and explain this a little bit better by just telling a story. And the backstory here is I was talking to someone recently that hadn't been feeling well, and this person's very healthy and been active all their life, and they hadn't been feeling well, so they went to go see the doctor. And so the doctor was saying, hey, look, you've got these couple of medications, you need to look at, taking a break from this one medication for a little while to see how you feel, and maybe everything will be fine. And so, as you know, anytime you go and get orders from the doc, you want to do what the doctor says, right? They're the expert on the health, so you want to follow those orders. Well, in this particular situation, the challenge was, you go and follow the doctor's orders, and you stop taking one thing, and then other readings are going to change because, these things might be working in concert, but they're having certain side effects. So they say, oh, we're going to fix that by switching you to this other drug that we don't know if there's necessarily side effects, but hey, we'll try it out and see what we can't figure out. And I guess part of, what hit me about that part of the story is just thinking, gosh, how frustrating it must be. You're just trying to figure out the source of the challenge you're dealing with, right? So, if the doc says, take this, you take this, and if they say, okay, that didn't work, and we're going to try that. And it's all a little bit of an experiment. And I think we can all reasonably understand that no one's got all the answers necessarily, so there is a little bit of trial and error involved. After all, it is called practicing medicine, right? So it was crazy just to think that, in this particular scenario, it was like, okay, well, what about this? Let's try this. And, then you've got this scenario. And what was frustrating was the sticky part about it was just that there was no solution that didn't include another pill or a new pill or changing the pill. And it's just like, gosh, what are you stuck with all of these solutions, right? That are in the form of a capsule, a gel cap, or a pill to get past your ailment. And it's like, wow, does it really have to be this way? Because the fact of the matter is, as we age and we talk to doctors that get us on medications for different particular reasons, the crazy part about it that I had an epiphany about was like, there's no exit date. There's no date that, okay, you take this for 6 months and then you're all better. You're all fixed. No, it's actually quite the opposite. I mean, you get on it and you stay on it because a lot of times these pills are prescribed to treat a condition, right? Okay, doc says diet and exercise, and if you don't, this is going to happen, whether it's for, your lack of activity or your diet or a combination of both. And different ailments and different people come up. So, hey, there's a pill for that, which is great. But sometimes this pill might make you feel this way or do this and do that. And so then there's another pill for that. And so it's a little bit like a downward spiral, unfortunately. They can kind of keep us, I guess, trapped, right? Because, we need the pills to get past our ailments. And the unfortunate part, I think, where the wake-up call is there's not an exit date for a lot of medications. Unfortunately, you just stay on it, and it alleviates the lack of willingness to change the diet and the exercise that were prescribed in the very beginning of all this. And, so this particular situation, it was troubling to think, gosh, don't, I'm not a doctor. I'm not the medical expert that can comment on necessarily what to do. I know what I've been able to see as far as the changes of food impact in my life, and as it shaped some of my views, most certainly. Um, you know, but I think in each individual's unique situation, they're going to go about their own process of evaluating the data that comes their way about a particular ailment. That could be from whether or not you need brain surgery or you got a broken arm or a scratch and you need stitches or not, right? But what I wanted to call out was I was just hoping that, and I was excited to hear that this person said, you know what, something's not right. I know I'm healthy. I'm convinced that like there's nothing wrong with me from the sense of I'm not broken in any sort of way or operating with this catastrophic defect. I just need to get some clarity why I haven't been feeling good. And so in this case, the beauty of it was the presence of mind and the awareness to make that conscious decision to go get a second opinion and to go, see a specialist about some of these scenarios, about some of these symptoms, about some of these situations, and see if you can't get a different perspective, right? Because a lot of times nobody's got the answer. And so, what was so refreshing to find out was just the beautiful data points that, hey, this person actually is doing great, is healthy. Are there some adjustments that can probably be made that we'll want to look into? Sure, most certainly, right? But the idea that the approach of the second opinion was a lot more progressive, I guess I could say, a lot more progressive in the sense that, hey, look, I see it all the time. People have issues, they don't know what's wrong. They've been taking this and taking that, feeling this way, feeling that way, and still without answers. And so this particular approach given is saying, hey, we're going to take another look at the information that we have and get some new information. And what are we going to do with that information? We're going to put together a plan to start to reverse some of these negative effects, to actually put a plan together to take charge of your own life and say, hey, you don't necessarily need to take this, that, and the other. There's an exit strategy here that enables one to take on a stance, a position, an attitude of healthy living, free of a dependency on any type of, manufactured chemical, right? And so I'm super excited about that. Now, granted, there's a lot more going on. Obviously, you gotta figure out what the plan is, put it together, and then most importantly, execute. Or it's all just an exercise in casual conversation, right? So with that, I think that there will be some bumps and stumbles in the road ahead because how it goes. We all get set in our ways, especially with regards to our habits and the things that we do every day. And what I found from personal experience is one of the things that we all do every day is we all eat every day. We all eat every day, right? 99.999% of us eat every day. I guess I'd probably still estimate if I'm not 100% accurate on that. But each time we eat, we have a decision that we get to make, whether we consume something that serves us or something that doesn't take us towards our goals, if we even have them. So just being able to get a second opinion and a perspective from another individual who's also highly, accredited and knowledgeable on some of these health related things, and to be able to provide a roadmap and an outlook and a different perspective by, a trusted expert, so that it's not just, an average opinion, right? It's going to be one that, that typically people have a vested interest in. So I think it's not that you necessarily want to run around looking for conflicting information and create greater turmoil, but sometimes you might get, dealt a bad hand with regard to diagnosis, and there could just be some mistakes in the data or mistakes in the interpreter of the data, right? So there are instances where, heck, it could be a matter of life and death. Go get that second opinion, right? Go get that second opinion. I mean, there are There are unfortunately far too many instances where a second opinion might be the difference between someone still being here and someone not. And that's not to say that, any diagnosis, good or bad, is going to be flawed. But there are instances where you got to trust your gut. If you know yourself well enough to say, hey, I'm not necessarily buying what this diagnosis is, and that this end all be all is get on this series of medications, right? There's way more control that we have. Human beings are way more sophisticated and amazing in our ability to recover and rejuvenate our bodies if we just cease to put the damaging effects of sedentary lifestyle and poor fueling choices. It's really as simple as that. But I just wanted to share the fact that I feel great. I believe in this person. I know that they're going to have their own epiphany and understand that it doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to take a diagnosis and look at it as being a permanent thing. You don't have to take a prescription and marry that thing to the end of your days. That there are certainly ways to enjoy a very high quality of life in your third and fourth quarter of this game of life, so to speak. And it just makes me feel great because not only is there the achievement that I'm looking forward to seeing, but knowing that it's actually going to require a transformation of the individual from the inside. And as I've always said, what you become is more important than what you get. So with these goals, I think they will be most rewarding, and I will be a beneficiary of this individual's great achievements and accomplishments. So I wanted to just take a moment to share that. And for any of you that might be going through maybe a challenging time health-wise, and if you got a gut feeling it's not jiving with the diagnosis, hey, don't be afraid to get a second opinion. And maybe it's to confirm the first diagnosis, but in those instances that there might be something amiss. You want to be certain and feel confident in the decisions that you make so that you can prolong and attempt to optimize your existence here as best you can for the ones you love and for yourself, obviously. So with that, I'll go ahead and wrap this episode up, but hope you enjoyed that and share it with a friend. I think we all need to make sure that we pay attention to our health because, kind of like our finances, it doesn't take care of itself. So that will wrap it up for this session, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen. See ya.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.